Hi guys, welcome back to another video. In this video, I'm going to be talking about £10,000 a month SMMA habits. So what I mean by that are what habits you need to adapt as a person and in your agency in order to get your agency to $10,000 a month, and what kind of characteristics and habits people that are already at $10,000 a month beyond actually have. And the reason why this is so important, guys, is because it really does have a massive impact on how successful you are in your social media marketing agency. And if you're, especially if you're a beginner and if you're potentially starting from a young age, these habits are going to take time to build. And there are some really good books on how to build habits and how long it takes to build a habit. And I think, if I remember correctly from reading a book on it, it was like it takes 28 days to build a habit. But don't hold me to that. If anyone knows, put the actual time it takes in the comment section below. But like I say, you've got to be consistent at these habits in order to become successful in social media marketing. Because if you followed this channel for any period of time, you'll know how much we talk about it being a game of consistency and the long game. It's not a get rich quick scheme overnight. It's not, press a few buttons and money pings out here like a lot of people make it out as if it is. And so the only way you're actually going to get there is if you're consistent and you build really strong habits in your life and in your business in order to hit the goals that you can hit. So my first one, guys, is laser focus. And this kind of habit needs to be taken across every part of your business and you as a person. You've got to be laser focused on your goal, and that can be macro and it can be micro. So from a macro perspective, you need to be laser focused on the goal of getting to $10,000 a month, or if you're already there, to get to $20,000 a month. And you need to have a clear plan of how to get there. And then from a micro level, you need to stay laser focused on those individual tasks to get to your macro goal. And staying laser focused can be really difficult, especially when you're surrounded by people that aren't also running a business, which is why it's so important to get yourself into communities like the Academy, like Facebook groups, or build relationships with people on Instagram or on LinkedIn, so you can surround yourself by other laser focused people so you don't get distracted. For example, if you're growing up in say you're an 18-year-old kid just out of school and all of your other friends are partying and stuff like this, it's not me saying don't party, of course, have fun. But if you're going out every night and getting drunk, or smoking or doing drugs or whatever it is, that's going to take away your focus from running the agency that you can build. So you've got to be laser focused and you've got to remove all of the distractions. Otherwise, you don't realize how much that's actually affecting you. If you're only laser focused on your social media marketing agency Monday and Tuesday, and then by the end of the week you forget about it, and then the week comes around and you're super motivated again, but by Wednesday that motivation falls off, you're just not going to get anywhere. SMMA is one of those things where you have to be consistently laser focused every single day, which is why it's my first habit that you need to build. And it's just something that you build up over time, and you just have to be very self-disciplined. I'm going to do a video in the future on how to stay disciplined. So look out for that video, because that's going to help with that first habit. Number two, which is my absolute favorite one of them all, which is attacking uncomfortable situations. In a social media marketing agency, and when you start any business for that matter, even if it's not an SMMA, you have to become super comfortable with being uncomfortable. And that's a very cliche term, and you've probably seen it loads of places, but it's something that I got in my head very early on in my agency, and I stuck to it religiously. Every time I felt uncomfortable, I had this narrative in my head which was like, shit, that's a good thing. Like, if you're uncomfortable, Harry, that means you're doing something right. And you should take this forward with your agency. If you're sat there running an agency and you're sending emails and DMs, if at least once a day you don't think, fucking hell, that was uncomfortable, you're doing something really wrong. You really are. Whether it being uncomfortable getting on a meeting for the first time, getting uncomfortable taking a phone call and speaking to a business owner for the first time, uncomfortable cold calling 20 businesses, even uncomfortable putting your face on your Instagram account to build your personal brand. They're all uncomfortable things, but they're all things that are the only things that actually work. So if you're sat there and yesterday you sent 100 emails, today you've sent 50 DMs, that's not very uncomfortable, because that's super easy to do. Hence why you should think, that's why I'm not getting anywhere. So make sure you do something uncomfortable at least once a day, and because eventually you'll just thrive in those positions. I remember when I first started my agency, I've said this a few times, I had a very corporate meeting with with a man who owned multiple dental practices around London. And the conversation started on LinkedIn, snowballed and snowballed into a more serious conversation. And then the time came to get on a call with him and his business partner, who is a really corporate really corporate man. And I got on the call as a, young 17. I look young now, let alone what I looked like when I was 17, 18. I would have been 18, 19. And I was just shitting myself. I was like, "I can't get on this. I'm not qualified to." And I got on there, and it was the most uncomfortable call I've ever done. They asked me some really pressing questions, and I answered them to a point. I didn't end up signing them, but the way that meeting went and how uncomfortable it was so much more valuable to me than it would have ever been if I signed them and it wasn't as uncomfortable. Because now I know for a fact a meeting cannot be more hard than that. It literally cannot be. And I've still, and to this day, 4 years later, because that was like in my first 10 meetings I've had in my agency, to this day, I've still not had a meeting as tough as that. So now when I go into meetings, I go in with it with such a calm, like, such a calm mentality, because I know it can't be worse than that. It's like, once you know how low the bar can go, you just feel comfortable. And that should be a positive thing. So every time I go into uncomfortable positions now, I always tell myself, right, I actually hope this is gonna be uncomfortable, so that every time I do something similar in the future, I'm not gonna be as uncomfortable. It's like skydiving. The first time you do it, it's terrifying. The next time you do it, it's not as scary. So it's just fear of the unknown. So the more unknowns and the more scared situations you can go into, the less things you're gonna be afraid of in your business, which is super useful and a great habit to build. Um, Habit number 3 is work on your goals every single day. Now, this is just an absolute no-brainer. No matter if it's 10 minutes, no matter if it's, for 6 hours or 10 minutes. You've got to put the time in every single day to check emails, to send some outreach, to do some cold calling, to do something on your business every single day. And really, you need to be putting a minimum of 2 hours a day into your agency if you want it to get anywhere. And obviously, the more hours you can put in, the better the further you're gonna get. But if you're just showing up here, showing up there, like I said like I said at the beginning, of not being laser focused, it's going to become a real issue. You've got to be focused every single day, and you've got to show up every single day as if it's your 9 to 5 job. Literally treat it like you have a second 9 to 5 job, or a 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. job. Whatever time you're doing it, you have to take it seriously, and you have to do it every single day. Number 4 is investing in yourself. Now, this is a habit that took me a long time to build, and I don't mean monetary. I mean in education. So putting the time in on YouTube to build your service delivery. Like we always say, the first step of starting a social media marketing agency is building your service. So understanding what you're going to deliver, because you're not going to be able to get on a meeting, you're not going to be able to do anything until you become an expert in the industry that your business operates. So that's step 1. That could be investing in buying books. For Russell Brunson's books, like $9.99, or I think it's free plus shipping. Or spending time on YouTube, which is completely free, and just putting the hours in, or buying a course or a mentorship program, or paying for a networking event. Just investing in learning more. If you're on day 1 and just and you've decided, right, I'm going to start a social media marketing agency, you've got to do more than that. You've got to put the time in. Otherwise, everyone would have a successful agency and everyone would just be a millionaire. No, it's the people that do make money from it have put the fucking time and the graft in, which is why it's so important you have to do the same. Finally, is being relentlessly consistent. Now, this ties in with being laser focused, and this ties in with showing up every day. And being consistent, and I've actually done videos on consistency on this channel, so you'll be able to scroll through and see it, but how important being consistent is. Because sales, especially in SMMA, is such a compounding task, that the more consistent you are with something, by far the better you're going to be. By far, like, the more meetings you're gonna book, and you're just gonna sign more clients purely down to being consistent. And consistency can go across everything. Consistency can be applied to how much you invest in yourself. Consistency can be on how, being consistent at working on your goals every day, consistent at being comfortable in uncomfortable positions, and consistently be laser focused. So it's just, consistency is one of the key words in scaling any business, in my opinion, but especially a social media marketing agency, because it's just finding the person at the right time. I could do 100 cold calls to businesses today and get no answers. You could call 100 of those businesses in a month's time, and you book 5 meetings from the people I couldn't, just because in that particular moment, they had a particular issue, and you've caught them at the just perfect right time, and they've accepted your meeting. It's just about timing. Like the last 3 meetings we've had, we always ask them, "Why did you take the meeting with us? You must get loads of proposals." And they say things like, you know, your sales guy was really good and stuff like this. But they always say something along the lines of, "You just caught me at the right time." And that's why consistency is so fucking important in social media marketing. Um, so yeah, well, I hope you enjoyed the video, guys. It's a really important video. It's something that if you're not doing, you really need to put the time and effort into building these habits into your day-to-day life, and just being religious with it, and never, never, never making exceptions and negotiating with yourself. So hope you enjoyed the video, guys. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. Continually follow us on Apple Music and Spotify if you're listening on the audio platforms, because we post every single day on the social media marketing industry, sales, Facebook ads, objections, all the good stuff. So please, please, please make sure you subscribe, and we'll see you tomorrow at 9 AM for tomorrow's video. See you soon, guys.